Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.
What's happening, everybody? Listen, I'm about to hit this gym up, but it was just something that was on my mind. And sometimes a lot of people aren't blessed simply because they're just disrespectful. Sometimes people are not blessed because they're disrespectful. And what am I talking about? Because some people are gonna be like, disrespectful, yeah, just disrespectful. You see, sometimes I'm a firm believer that God will send people, right, in the form of human beings. He will send people that's assigned to you, right? And a lot of times God is trying to get your attention, and sometimes he's trying to get your attention through someone. So that can be a cousin, that can be a friend, whoever the case may be, right? And that person, every time you're making these bad decisions, you're doing all of these things that's going to take you off course of the person that you're supposed to be. This person is telling you, hey, you shouldn't do that. Hey, there's another way, this, that, and the other, right? And you are blatantly disrespectful to them. You see, a lot of times you sit back and you pray to God for things, right? Oh God, if you give me this, I'm going to do this. If you know what I'm saying, if you do blah, 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 this, that, and the other, right? And a lot of times people try to use God as an ATM. But the crazy thing is, in order to use the ATM, you have to have funds in the bank. But a lot of people come to God as an ATM and they ain't got nothing stored in the bank. So God, because he's an ever-loving God, he will send someone that's assigned to you. And you're so disrespectful to that person. And a lot of times you're disrespectful to that person because you're familiar with the person. You see, I when people tell me about, how good God is and all of this other type of stuff, right? That's just word. That's just words, right? I always look at how you're doing life. You see, my grandparents, and I talk about them all the time, right? My grandparents, I didn't always agree with everything that they said, but I respected them. I didn't always, when I was younger, I thought I should be able to spend the night at people's houses, but I honored them. So when that answer was no, there was no wordage. I didn't say, well, why? You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the other, right? Because I honored them. I respect them. And because I respected them, because I honored them, those blessings that were scheduled to be, bestowed upon my life, they were able to be bestowed because I was doing what I was supposed to do. I respected them. I honored them. In your life, you could have someone that literally wants the best for you. You will treat them the worst because when you're familiar with the person, you don't honor their gift. I come on here, I make these videos, I do these posts, I do all of this other stuff, right? And to a lot of people that know me, they might not honor what God has put inside of me to birth into the world because they're familiar with me, right? But then those same people 10 years down the line can't say, well, I never knew, because something that I have spoke or something that I have written spoke to the very problem that you're having now or the future problem that you're having, right? But because it's me, you don't honor the gift that God has given me. When you go to work and your boss, your manager, this, that, and the other, right? You can't stand them. But you're supposed to honor the position. You see, first of all, I'm not dealing with no disrespect, right? But for how I think is okay, I have to honor the position, but I don't have to give you access to me. See, a lot of times people go wrong when they think it has to be a back and forth. No, I don't have to be no back and forth. You just don't have access to me. I honor the position, but you don't have access to me. When you're getting pulled over by the police officers and this, that, and the other, right? The honor goes to the position, not the person, right? So when you find yourself, in the back and forth, no, I'm not going back and forth with you. You don't have that type of access to me. A lot of times you give people access to you, and that's what causes you to go back and forth. I've been in situations to where I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen screenshots of the stuff that you have said, but you don't have that access to me. And because you don't have that access to me, I'm not even going to address it. I know what you said. You know what you said. But if you see me, it's a whole different ball game. But you're not going to get that reaction from me, right? And I think that a lot of times if you grew up, let's say you have a problem with your parents, right? The thing is, you're still supposed to honor your parents. You're still supposed to honor them. Now, you can restrict the access, but you still have to honor them. And a lot of times people find themselves in the positions that they are now. They're down and out, they're disheveled and this, that, and other, because they have been disrespectful. Again, I did not agree with everything that my grandparents, said to me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't, because I didn't understand, but I respected them and I honored them. And all of these years later, I still respect them. I spared a lot of people. I spared a lot of people because of the respect that I had for them. You see, respect and honor opens the door to blessings. And a lot of people out there don't understand why they are not blessed. But they're not blessed because of the disrespect and the dishonor. Who are you to sit back and look at a person and say, nah, they ain't this, that, and other, blah, 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 this, that. No, because like I said, God comes in several different forms. One of the best conversations that I ever had was I was at the store and there was a guy outside. He looked homeless. I don't know if he was homeless or not, but he looked homeless. And everybody that was coming out, they just didn't say nothing to him. So I was coming in, and sometimes I am the most outgoing person that sometimes don't want to be bothered. You know what I mean? So as I'm walking up, he catches my eye, and I'm like, don't say nothing to me. And I don't know what it is about my face, but people always, talk to me, right? So I'm looking, I catch his eye, and I start looking down, right? And I was just thinking he was going to ask me for some money. So as I'm coming up, I'm getting my thoughts in my head of how I'm going to say no. And the dude just said, good morning. And it kind of like caught me off guard, right? Because I was expecting, good morning, do you have $1, right? So I stopped. I said, hey, good morning, how you doing? And he said, I'm good. And that was it. So I go in the store, get whatever I'm coming to get, and I come back out and he was still there. And something was just pulling at me. And I said, well, hey, man, we just started having a conversation. The conversation touched me in a way because he never asked me for anything. He just wanted a conversation. And what he was saying was, how he just goes from store to store, whatever. And, he was just like, it's amazing how people just don't want to talk. And I stood out there for 15 minutes and we had a conversation. And I felt so fulfilled getting in that car. And I offered him something. He didn't want nothing. And I got in the car and I felt so good. right? Like I felt so good, but it registered in my mind that, you know what? God shows up as many different things. And being disrespectful, not honoring, can literally close the door to the blessing that you've been praying for. Literally can close that door. You walk around here and everybody has to be so tough. Everybody has to just be so tough. Everybody's so tough. And then they turn around and say, why is all of these shootings? Why is this, that, and the other, right? Because everybody's so tough. But sometimes everybody's so tough because they scared. Sometimes everybody's so tough because the level of disrespect is so high. So in closing, just remember this. Sometimes you're not blessed just because you're just downright disrespectful and you don't honor certain things that you should be honoring. I'm not saying that I'm the best speaker, this, that, and the other. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, maybe something that I have said, it could have been 2 years ago, can bless you today. But the mere fact that you can't see that because you're familiar with me might just be what's blocking your blessings.
Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.